December 4th, 1980 Atlanta. Officer J.A. Swope is doing a typical eyeball of the area near what is now Atlantic Station. Around 7:30 p.m., he spies a 1972 gold Monte Carlo in the parking lot of the Admiral Benbow Inn. The license plate matches that of local missing math teacher and 38-year-old mother of two, Faye Dollar. He calls the city's teeny missing persons bureau for identification and fingerprinting. At approximately 8:15 p.m., officials open the trunk and make a grisly discovery. The nude body of Faye Dollar, her hair in curlers. In the 40-plus years since her disappearance and murder, little information has been uncovered and reported, but the information that has doesn't make much sense. Most of it involves her ex-husband, a former prominent basketball coach in College Park, a weird blurb about a boyfriend, and a mysterious phone call. With advances in DNA testing, or perhaps with a renewed call for information on her fate, or maybe just an updated and accurate description of the event on Atlanta's Unsolved Murders website might reveal the truth. In this episode of It's a Mystery, I'll be discussing the eerie murder of Faye Jackson Dollar. Atlanta in 1980 was not as big and thriving as it is now, but it still had a robust population, with nearly 500,000 people in the city proper and a couple million in the overall metro area. That same year, the city was selected to be the host of the 1996 Summer Olympic Games, which was heavily celebrated by the mayor, Maynard Jackson. He was the first black mayor in the city's history and the first black mayor in any major southern city. In 1979, the MARTA train had begun operating, again signaling that the city would see tremendous growth in years to come. Though the late 70s had seen a rise in crime, like many urban areas during the decade, and street gangs were a particularly pesky problem. Atlanta was also dealing with the widespread media coverage and frenzy of the child murder cases from 1979 to 1981 that would ultimately send Wayne Williams to prison, but would leave more questions unanswered than actually answered. However, from 1979 through 1984, there was a steady decline in murders overall. In 1980, Atlanta had a small 5-person squad working as the Missing Persons Bureau, handling some 660 missing persons cases and 770 runaway investigations that year alone. Faye Jackson Dollar was born on March 8, 1942. She was a very popular math teacher at Feldwood High School in Fulton County, even winning the National Honor Society's Most Spirited Teacher Award in 1979. Fellow faculty members described her as being bubbly. During this time, she was married to well-known high school basketball coach Donald Dollar. They had 2 sons, Chadwick and Cameron. By September of 1980, the couple divorced. Friends and family called the divorce contentious and would later attest to police that domestic disputes at the Dollar home were not unheard of. As a result of the divorce, Faye got full custody of the children. They resided at 378 King Henry Street Southwest near Cascade Heights, which is now 3778 King Henry Road Southwest. On the night of November 29th, Faye tucked her children into bed while wearing a red dress. Her hair was in neat curlers, and she was always known to wear her hair in a curly style. After she bid the 9-year-old Chadwick and 4-year-old Cameron goodnight, the details get hazy. Some reports say that Faye received a phone call around 9 p.m. and left the house, not wearing a coat or taking anything with her. Police would speculate that she left the house voluntarily to go to the store, or she was forced to. A December 3rd, 1980 Atlanta Constitution article mentioned that she got a phone call from her boyfriend, who said he wouldn't be able to come over. We'll come back to the boyfriend in a moment. The lead detective told the newspaper she left her children alone in bed and said she would be right back. From all indications, she left to meet someone and wasn't planning to stay away, or she left for the store to buy something. So according to this narrative, this mother of 2 left her home on a chilly December evening, likely in a red house dress, with curlers and no coat. On the morning of Sunday, November 30th, Chadwick and Cameron arose to find that their mother and her gold 1972 Monte Carlo were missing. They promptly called their father, who then called police. But this is where things further get confusing. The Atlanta PD website lists Faye as being reported missing on Monday, December 1st, meaning that perhaps Donald Dollar did not call the police immediately upon getting called by his sons. Furthermore, it was reported that investigators suspected foul play from the beginning because Feldwood High School said that in 13 years, she had never missed a day without giving proper notice. Either this means Feldwood High School actually reported her disappearance first on Monday, December 1st, and Donald followed suit, or that Atlanta PD's website is incompetent and inaccurate. To add to the confusion, Donald Dollar gave his ex-wife's license plate number as GLP 396 so that all BOLO or be on the lookout bulletins would advise cops to look for the car. Police didn't notice until Thursday, December 4th, that the license plate number provided by Donald Dollar was incorrect. The same day that the correct one was provided, Faye's car was found in the parking lot of the Admiral Benbow Inn. By the way, the Admiral Benbow Inn was about 15 miles from where Faye and her sons lived. When Faye's corpse was found, still in curlers and naked except for the gold necklace she wore, her red dress was nowhere near the scene and has actually never been recovered. She was laying face down on a spare tire that left an indentation on her abdomen. An autopsy revealed that Faye died from blunt force trauma to the head, with an instrument making contact behind her left ear. The medical examiner claimed to know what kind of item would make the wound left on her head, but refused to publicly release the information. And this is where it gets weirder. The autopsy showed that she had been dead for several days before her body was discovered, and the manager and security personnel of the Admiral Benbow Inn both swore that not only had she never registered at the hotel, but her car had not been in the parking lot earlier that day. So whoever murdered Faye put her in the trunk and drove her from the murder site to the dump site definitely benefited from police not having the accurate license plate number. The killer also left the car unattended for days, meaning they had a garage or access to parking that wouldn't arouse suspicion. They then returned to the car and moved it. The Atlanta Constitution also vaguely reported that personal items of Faye's had been found in the area near her body. This makes me wonder if police did in fact recover the red dress, but I'm not entirely sure why they would hide that information. In the sparse news coverage of Faye Dollar's story, reporters weren't subtle in suggesting that the contentious divorce may have played a part in her death. But police never named Donald Dollar as an official suspect, and by the end of the year, literally that same month, he was back being mentioned in newspapers for high school basketball defeats and victories. With full custody of his children, he didn't let gossip going down the grapevine impact him too much. He later recounted that, quote, "I could imagine there were whispers, things of that sort, but we've never had a problem with it." Donald Dollar never remarried. Faye and Donald's son Cameron would go on to be a championship member of the UCLA Bruin basketball team in the 90s. A 1994 article detailed how at 17, Cameron did research at the local library and found what happened to his mother, implying that the people around him, including his father, never told him. In the 40-plus years since their mother's murder, both Cameron and Chadwick have led successful careers as college basketball coaches. So my main questions are, and probably yours too, who was the mysterious boyfriend who was mentioned once in the December 3rd news article and never mentioned again? If Faye tucked her two adolescent boys into bed on the night of December 4th, why did the 4-year-old, Cameron, recall in a 1995 article that she got a phone call and left on an errand? And how was Donald Dollar able to return so quickly to work as a basketball coach amongst what should have been considerable confusion and grief and newfound custody of two children? And he did this as early as 2 weeks after Faye's body was found. Who reported Faye missing first, her place of employment or her ex-husband? What was the personal property of Faye's that was found near her body, and why didn't the police ever share what kind of object she was struck with? Was she sexually assaulted or robbed? And by extension, was a motive ever established? Furthermore, how did 4 days manage to pass before police noticed that the license plate provided by Donald was wrong? Wouldn't a good detective clear that with the Department of Driver Services, like immediately? And most importantly of all, you may have noticed that these pictures don't appear to show the same woman. According to Feldwood High School, this is Faye Jackson Dollar. And according to the Atlanta Police Department, this is Faye Jackson Dollar. This brings me to another question. Why is an official record of the event on the Atlanta PD's website riddled with errors and omissions? And on a speculative front, because I have not seen any other mention of it online except for in a comment section, was Donald Dollar's brother really a cop at the time that his ex-wife was murdered? What do you think? These are the kinds of questions that must be asked by somebody with a bigger production budget than I. One who can track down family members, spend time tracking down elusive records in a highly disorganized system, and more. Maybe somebody will see this video and be stirred to provide information or even just new insight on the woman whose life was taken too soon. Until that happens, if it ever does, the case of Faye Jackson Dollar remains a mystery.